Hello and welcome to another episode of the In-Depth Review series where we give an older, once mainstream car a fresh look and review as if it were brand new. This is how Neighborhood Car Reviews digitally preserves these cars for future generations to enjoy. Today's review subject is made possible by the incredible folks over at Purcell Auto Sales in Camby, Indiana. Be sure to check them out online as they always seem to have a diverse inventory in stock. The American spirit of travel is deeply ingrained in our culture, and what better way to experience it than the behind the wheel of a classic Corvette? The C4 Corvette, the fourth generation of this iconic sports car, epitomizes the spirit of adventure and freedom that has made Corvettes a symbol of American automotive excellence. The C4 Corvette marked a significant departure from its predecessor, the C3, with a completely new chassis and a sleek modern design that reflected the changing times. Led by Chief Corvette designer David McClellan, who took over from Zora Arcos Duntov in 1975, the team at Corvette worked tirelessly to create a car that could stand the test of time. In 1987, the C4 Corvette underwent a major engine upgrade, including hydraulic roller lifters, that significantly increased power output. This change allowed the C4 Corvette to deliver even more thrilling performance on the road. The first C4 rolled off the Bowling Green assembly line on January 3, 1983, and the final C4 was produced on June 20, 1996. Over its 13-year production run, the C4 Corvette became a beloved classic among enthusiasts and a symbol of American automotive heritage. Hey everyone, in today's latest installment of the In-Depth Review series, we're traveling back in time to 1987. And what we're taking a look at today is a 1987 Chevrolet Corvette. Today's Corvette is the C4 Coupe. It does feature a removable targa roof. This car is painted in torch red, and it does feature the graphite gray leather interior. The leather interior is actually an option on this car. And speaking of, I do have full pricing on screen from when this car is brand new. And a full options list is in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. This car is actually very well equipped for its time. Today's review is going to be a full in-depth review. We're going to cover everything from the exterior to the interior, powertrain, performance, and everything else in between. Now, it's no stranger to this channel that I do like the C4 Corvette because this was a Corvette from when I was a kid. Now, today's example is dirty. It is rather dirty. It's been a weird fall. It's also very warm and very windy today. Of course, the Corvette is rear-wheel drive with power coming from the L98 5.7-liter 350 cubic inch 16-valve pushrod V8 engine. This engine is of cast iron block and aluminum head construction and features tuned port fuel injection, low friction roller valve lifters, ball tip push rods, and a 9.5:1 compression ratio. This engine is rated for 240 horsepower at 4,000 RPM and 345 pound-feet of torque at 3,200 RPM. The 87 Corvette can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.6 seconds. 0 to 100 miles per hour comes in at 16.3 seconds, with the quarter mile hitting in at 14.2 seconds at 95 miles per hour. The top speed on this car is limited to 154 miles per hour, just 69 miles per hour shy of its ridiculously federally mandated 85 miles per hour speedometer. Now, let's take a listen to that V8 growl. The Corvette is equipped with a 20 US gallon fuel capacity and it consumes 5.9 gallons per 100 miles driven, with an estimated total driving range of around 340 miles. EPA fuel economy figures are 15 miles per gallon in the city, 23 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined average of 17 miles per gallon. Available as a no-cost option was a Doug Nash 4+3 4-speed manual gearbox with driver-selectable overdrive for second, third, and fourth gears, effectively making it a pseudo 7-speed manual. Standard on the Corvettes, however, is a 4-speed turbo-hydromatic 700 R4 automatic with overdrive, with a high stall torque converter, and paired to a standard 2.73:1 axle ratio. Steering on this car is hydraulically assisted rack and pinion with 2.4 turns lock-to-lock and a 40.4-foot turning radius. It has a 15.5:1 overall ratio. The wheels on this car are the cool turbine style 16 by 9.5 inch aluminums and are shot on 255/50 ZR16 Kumo X Supra all-season tires front and rear. Brakes are power-assisted 4-wheel disc brakes with electronic 3-channel ABS, and features 11.5 inch vented rotors with aluminum single piston sliding calipers on nodular iron reaction brackets. The brakes on this car can halt the Corvette from 70 miles per hour to 0 in 177 feet. Alright, now as we walk along the rear of the car, we're going to cover the rear in depth like I do in all my videos, but just take a look at it. It still looks like a Corvette even to this day. You know exactly what you're looking at. Alrighty, around the rear of the 87 Corvette, it looks very typical Corvette. Round taillights, quad exhaust, fiberglass body, Coke bottle shape, just really good lines. Even for an 87, the C4s are amongst my favorites. The rear glass hatch actually opens up. And I'm not really sure why the third brake light is flashing with the hazard. It's probably a safety feature. But as the body panels come down, as you can see, it does come into a concave taper here with the black divider line. Very typical of the 80s. Of course, you do have your round tail lights. And these back here actually illuminate whenever you have the headlights on and you place the car in reverse. It is a very windy day out, so I am fighting that. Alright, as we walk along the rear, as you can see, very iconic look. You instantly know exactly what you're looking at. You have the Corvette logo here, Corvette script here on the back. Got your reverse lights, and of course, those really nice quad exhausts. And of course, as we walk along the profile, I do have the full exterior dimensions on screen, so check that out. You can see the exterior dimensions of this car. As you can see, even to this day, that Coke bottle shape, the teardrop look, it just looks very, very good even several decades later. Now as we come along the front of the car actually looks way better with the headlamps closed. I will show the headlamp operation, of course, and we're going to cover the front end styling in greater detail in the upcoming clip. Still to this day, one of my favorite Corvettes. Alrighty, now walking along the front of the Corvette, obviously I think the car looks better with the headlights off, but that's just me, only because of the pop-up units. Now the pop-up units are actually more of a roll-open style unit. Whenever you switch the headlights on, they actually kind of roll over themselves and then expose the sealed composite beam headlamps. They also contain the brights. And then down below, with the headlights on and you turn your turn signal on, it does activate the cornering light. Now up front, we do have a huge fiberglass forward opening clamshell hood. Coming down into this F-body style Trans Am looking front end. You got the inset lights or your fog lights, and of course your front indicators. Front license plate cover says Corvette, and of course you have the Corvette logo front and center on the hood. You know, even for an 87, this car still looks good today. Alright, now before we get inside, let's take a look and see what we get as far as keys are concerned. you'll be surprised that you don't get a keyless remote transmitter. I'm not sure if it was optional or not. I'll have to take a look at the brochure, but this car doesn't have that anyway. We just have two keys. We have the oval key here, just a single-sided blade, and that basically locks your doors. You're locking storage compartments in the trunk, and of course, yeah, it's just an opening to lock the doors. The square head is actually your ignition key. Single bladed, but it does have the security chip here, and it has the GM blade. Nothing special really. To lock the vehicle is very easy. Just put the round head in, then we're gonna turn it to the front of the car or to the left. That locks the doors. To unlock it, turn it to the right or the rear, and that unlocks it. And let's take a look at this interior. Now what we have here is an absolutely amazingly pristine interior. Everything still works. All the electronic gauges, everything. The seats are very comfortable and they are very supportive. We're going to cover those over here in just a second. Taking a look at the door panel, as you can see, very nice shape indeed. Nice soft touch materials. It's a two-tone black and gray. You've also got your trunk release button here on the edge of the door guard. Kind of cool. The black padded plastic or vinyl. And then you have, of course, your illuminated entry system, and it says push here, and that's because at night that can double as a map light, which is really cool. Door pulls, locks, power lock switch, and interestingly, your wiper washer control is actually mounted on the doors. And then of course we have the Delco Bose audio system. As shown before, that little logo here indicates that your hood release is down here. And let's take a look inside the footwell. Unfortunately, we just have two pedals because this car is an automatic transmission. Inside the footwell as well, as we have this very interesting parking brake. It is a flyaway style parking brake, so we engage the parking brake and we can actually drop the handle back down. Keeps it out of the way. When you want to release the brake, lift it back up, press the button, and pull it down. Now, because of the nature of the car, the sills are extremely high because that is your body rigidity and beams, because the roof does not support any of the car itself. So that's why you have more of a climb in, drop out style entryway. Now on the driver's side dash panel, it's missing, but this is your headlamp control, fog lamp control, air vents, and of course we have multifunction control, tilt steering wheel. It's also a telescoping steering wheel as well, just like Cadillacs were. Unlock it, and then of course you can adjust it this way for your liking. All right, now let's take a look at the seats. The seats are actually very supportive. They are very comfortable, and unlike any other seat in any GM vehicle at the time, they are a single piece. The headrests are actually fixed in place, and they do have a thin shell plastic frame. It is a perforated leather. Unfortunately, they are not heated or anything like that, but the seats are very comfortable and they are very supportive. This little lever right here is actually your seat back adjust angle. And then inside the console for the driver, we have our power seat switches here. So up and down, the rear portion up and down, fore and aft, and the entire seat assembly up and down. That is an option on this car. All right, let's hop inside and check out the rest of the interior. Alrighty, now that we're inside, let's pan through the interior and show more details. This car does have relatively stiff power steering. It is a leather wrapped steering wheel. It is a 2-spoke design. It does have the Corvette logo in here, and of course you have your horn. Kind of a weak sounding horn if you ask me, but I do like the leather wrapped steering wheel. The leather is actually starting to age a little bit, but anyway. Over here we have a multifunction control. It does control our turn indicators, high beams and flash to pass, and of course it has cruise control. Just the typical GM, off, on, RA, and then set coast. So how it works, for those of you who do not know, you basically turn your cruise on. Once you get up to speed, you hit the set button. And then if you want to coast, you press and hold that, or you can tap the brake and it'll cancel it. To resume back to your set speed, just tap on RA, And if you want to speed up while cruise control is set, just press and hold RA, and the A becomes active, which is accelerate. To turn off the system, just turn it off. Tilt wheel lever back here, and as I stated before, the telescoping function is right here. All right, let's take a look at the instrument cluster. Now, the instrument cluster is a bit crazy. It is very 1980s computer screen looking. And what we have here are 3 liquid crystal display screens. On this side, we have our speedometer. It does show in miles per hour, and it is an 85 mile per hour readout. And it does have a digital function over here. I am not sure in miles per hour if that can exceed 85 or not, because of the federal regulations back then. But the reason why it does is because over in this quadrant, if you hit metric, we flip our speedometer to kilometers per hour. And that, of course, will read out all the way up to 120 kilometers. And then in front and center, we have our auxiliary gauges. So right now what's shown is oil pressure, gas range, we have a stay in place fuel gauge, coolant temperature, and our average miles per gallon. But going back to that panel, we have a variety of switches here, which corresponds to each instrument in its location. So upper left is oil pressure and oil temperature, or you can turn it off. The lower left is your range, you can turn it off, or your trip odometer. And then over here on the right hand side, upper right, coolant temperature, off, or volts. And then lower right, we have instant fuel rate, off, or average. We've also got trip resets and all that kind of stuff, and English and metric. So by flipping those switches around, we can basically reconfigure our instrument cluster. So this is what it looks like when all of them are turned off. And of course we have oil pressure, and then oil temperature. And then we have our gas range. It's very low on gas, by the way. And our trip odometer. Over here on the right hand side, upper right, we have our coolant temperature, which right now is showing 228 degrees. And then off, or we could do volts, 13.6 volts. And then down in the lower right hand side, we have instant fuel rate, which of course we're sitting still, so we're 0 miles per gallon. Or we can go to the average, 5.1, just because we're sitting here. Of course, you can also set everything the way you want it, and then you can flip it to metric. Very, very cool. And then of course over here we have a 6,000 RPM tach with a digital readout as well. Over here is our hazard flashers. Alrighty, moving over the top of the dash. Now, unfortunately in this car, well, this car actually, the dash is in really good shape, but unfortunately the dash is my least favorite design aspect of the entire car. And it's basically because of that, which is actually a crash pad, because no airbags were in 1987. They were, but not in this car. So for passenger protection, it's actually a very pliable piece of vinyl, and it does double as a basically already inflated airbag in the event of a forward collision. It does say Corvette, and it does have a positional air vent. Now up here, we've also got 4 individually positional air vents. Oh, I did forget to show you. The odometer, coincidentally enough, is an analog unit with the roller drums. And at the time of this recording, we have 29,970 miles on this car. All right, moving down. This is our control panel for the configurable instrument cluster. Warning light readouts. And of course, we have the Delco Bose AM/FM cassette player. Let's move the transmission lever out of the way. And this car does feature air conditioning. Very easy in operation. We can turn it off, max, normal, and bi-level air conditioning modes. And then vent and heater and defroster. Cold and hot for temperature. And of course we can do our fan speed, low, and then high. And then we can also turn on the rear defroster as well. And actually the air conditioner works in this car, and it works quite well. Moving down the center stack, this panel normally would open, but the cigarette lighter is actually blocking it. This actually would just hold your cup holders. Shift lever, leather wrapped shift handle and boot. Does have the Prindle readout here. Power window controls are here. Left and right mirror controls are here. And this is your mirror joystick. And as shown before, this is your seat adjuster. It's not in the passenger side because the original owner did not opt for passenger seat power functions. Now the armrest does open up. It also locks with that oval key. There's a button right here, and it does open up towards us. And it does feature some storage, coin holder, and our trunk release. So yeah, there you go, the interior of the 1987 Corvette. Even to this day, still a very nice place to be. Looking overhead, we do have a manually dimming rearview mirror. And then over here, we do have adjustable sun visors. They do flip up to reveal illuminated reading lights. They can power on and off. And then of course, we could slide the visor, but there's no extension or anything like that, so that's all you get. Alright, to open the luggage area, there are actually 3 ways you can do it. The first way, of course, is inside the center console. Pressing that yellow button there, that will release your lift gate. Also, on the edge of the driver's door, as we showed before, flipping that switch down will actually open the rear hatch as well. Alright, and of course the other way is opening up the passenger side door. That exact same switch resides here as well. Press that down, and it opens right up. Alright, so here we go. The opening hatch of the Corvette reveals a very nice, a very large luggage capacity, especially for a car of this size. Very nice and deep. It is fully carpeted, fully lined. It's also illuminated, and it also has your Delco Bose amplifier, subwoofer, and speakers back here as well. And you'll notice those 2 compartments there. They do, of course, open, and we'll cover that here in just a second. As you can see, enough room for an overnight bag or a couple of suitcases. And you've also got provisions to, which is what these are for, to remove your hardtop and stow it back here as well. Now, to close the lift or the hatch, you just lower it down like normal, and then where these 2 dots are, just press there, and it latches in place. All right, so now we're going to check out that those compartments. We're going to lift the seat back forward. There's a little switch back here. It unlocks the seats, and as you can see, they do tilt forward quite a bit. Now these are both locking using that oval key. And as you can see, some small amount of storage in here. They do have removable liners. And of course, you also have your jacking instructions as well. And then over on the driver's side, it is the exact same, only no labels or anything like that. So just a bit of concealed storage back here. Alrighty, and there you have it, the 1987 Chevrolet Corvette. We hope you found the review informative, and if you did, please comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/neighborhoodcarreviews and our Instagram channel at BrensoJ1. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.